This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Jeff Gardner.
Welcome to the Good Neighbor Podcast. Today we have another good neighbor on, Felicity Markevich with Explorers Bistro. Felicity, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for coming on the show. We're very happy to have a chat with you.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here.
Great. Okay. Well, for the people that don't know, as I know a little bit about your business, let's tell them about it. Tell us about your business. What is Explorers Bistro?
So Explorers Bistro is a European with focus on Mediterranean style restaurant, and it's located in the heart of downtown Midland, right on King Street. And it's co-owned by family members. Their names are Tammy and our head chef, Ilias.
Did you say Ilias?
Ilias, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. And so not remind us, the audience doesn't know, but remind me, what is your position there again?
So I'm an assistant manager there and server, and I also help with some of the administration behind the scenes stuff. And
I believe you were there before they even opened it up. So you've been there from the ground up.
Yes, yeah. So I was hired close to 2 months before they actually opened up, and I had the pleasure of helping them, decorate and clean and organize and figure out menu and design websites, and it's been a blast.
So pretty much every hat possible you wear.
As many as I can, at least.
That's one of the things about small and medium local businesses. Often it's a team that's like 2 to 20, and somebody's hired on for marketing, and they end up taking out garbages and training the sales staff, and finding a way to find out new recipes on the menu. Like, you're a part of everything, and that gives that great family vibe. So I really like that. I love that it's family owned, and that you guys are local to Simcoe County. It's beautiful. So tell the audience a bit about, as much as you can explain from the owners, but also yours. Both perspectives will be great, about their journey, your journey. How, why did you and them get into the restaurant business? I mean, I know it's a tough business. Why did you go that route?
Yeah, so I'll start with the owners. So Chef is classically trained. He trained in Belgium and Greece, and he was actually running a successful restaurant in Greece, where he's from. But due to the economic state there, they kind of dreamed together to start a restaurant in Canada. And Tammy, who had grown up in Southern Ontario and had a lot of childhood ties to the Georgian Bay area. So when they saw the listing, it seemed like fate to them. And as far as personally, I've always been really drawn to the restaurant industry in general. But meeting Tammy specifically and getting the opportunity to work with them has been really exciting because of some of the things that we've already stated. Like, I like to be useful, and I don't like to feel like when I'm working that the company is wasting money on me. So it's nice to be able to provide a work ethic that is beneficial to them.
That word useful, it seems to come up more nowadays. Maybe I just didn't recognize it before, but I think that's a hell of a character trait. There are some people out there that are good at getting paid for nothing. Maybe not a large group of people, but for the people out there that, want to make a good impact or build something great and be paid because of their efforts and earn it, it's just a great character trait. So kudos to you for that. And I'm glad you were along the journey with them from the beginning.
Me too.
So something that I'm curious about for the industry, but as well for Explorers Bistro, because the little that I know about Explorers Bistro, I think you guys are a little different than the average restaurant. But can you tell the audience some common myths or misconceptions about the restaurant industry, maybe about Explorers Bistro, so for people that have heard of it and haven't gone yet?
Yeah, for sure. So as far as Midland is concerned, we have quite a lot of chain restaurants, which there's nothing wrong with chain restaurants, but they use a lot of processed food, frozen fries, pre-formed patties, things like that, to be able to have cheaper options for their customers. But that's kind of the opposite of what we want. Pretty much nothing that comes out of our kitchen is pre-processed. And once you taste our food, you can tell it has really high quality and delicious. But it can be hard competing with the restaurants who use those tactics to keep their prices low.
So recognize that Explorers Bistro, quality, not frozen. You may pay a little extra for it than the chain, but I mean, come on, guys. There's a difference between a chain and a restaurant. Check them out.
Yes.
So I don't know if you can answer for them, but I'd be curious if you could. If not, then for you, more on the personal side of things, outside of business, what do you do for fun? What are you getting up to outside of working hours?
Yeah, so it's kind of a tough one for us to answer because we're all pretty dedicated, especially Tammy and Chef. But as far as Tammy's concerned, she has a really big love for the arts. So she's often supporting local community events, especially if they're highlighting local artists. And she has a particular interest in, we have a center here called the Midland Cultural Center. And she's had close ties with them. And in fact, she's waiting a bit of ratification, but she said actually to become a board member there. Chef, he obviously likes workshopping new recipes in his spare time, but first and foremost, he's a family man. He's been married for 13 years and he has two lovely boys, 12 and 8. So he spends a lot of his spare time with his family. As far as personal interests, when it comes to him, he loves rocking out to, old school hip hop music, and he really enjoys motorcycles. Yeah.
Did you say hip hop music?
Yeah, he really likes old school hip hop music. I love it.
I totally stereotyped him because I seen a picture of him. I thought you were going to say rocking out to old school rock and roll. You totally sent a curveball my way when you said old school hip hop. So what are we talking, like 80s, 90s?
Yeah, 80s, 90s hip hop. It's mostly blaring in the kitchen if you ever go back there. Yeah.
Oh, I have to meet this guy.
He's pretty fun.
And how old did you say he was roughly?
He's in his 40s. Yeah.
40s from Belgium.
He's originally from Greece.
Oh, Greece.
But he trained in Belgium as a chef. Yeah.
Okay. Mid-40s, Greece, old school hip hop. Awesome. Now, one of my favorite questions, as I think there's a fair bit of negative news out there. So we try to stay on the positive side of things in the content that we put out there. That said, I think describing hardships in our life and life challenges don't have to be negative. I actually think they could have a much greater purpose than that. I think they can be a beacon for other people that are maybe struggling to identify their hardships or share them. So the hardships that we go through, I think, help mold us into who we become. So is there any hardship or kind of life challenge or trial that you've been through, or maybe that about the owners that have been through that they had to face, probably didn't want to face it? I look back on some of mine as like, I didn't want to do that when I did it, but I did it and I'm better off for it. Anything that you look back in hindsight and I'm really happy I did this as much as it sucked during the time.
Yeah. So for Tammy, she was actually, so when they bought the business, she was already retired and living in Greece. So just coming out of retirement and getting back into the schedule of working, it was really difficult for her at first. And then, of course, it was made more difficult because she's been living apart from her husband, who is still currently in Greece awaiting paperwork. So I'm sure you can understand that having to, she's not really alone, but she is alone in a certain regard, and it's difficult. It can be difficult on her, but as you say, she's better for it because she's providing this amazing opportunity for other family members that would have never had the chance to come to Canada. And I think she's getting a lot of enjoyment from the positive effect that she's had on the community.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
And anything for yourself?
For myself? Oh, that's a long list. But I can talk about Chef. So Chef, so like I said, he was a family member. And when they first bought the business, his family was still awaiting paperwork. And this is the first time that he had ever been apart from his boys. So that was really difficult for him. And then, of course, being in the new environment, immigrating to Canada from a different country, I can't imagine what that would feel like, right? So the reunion of when his boys and his wife came over was really lovely to see. And it was I don't know, we were just so happy for him to reunite the family. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, growing a business on its own, being an entrepreneur on its own it's challenging. I love it. But it has beaten me up time and time again. I cannot imagine going to another place that could be another language. I imagine they spoke English before they came here, but going to a whole new world and building a business, those are two difficult things.
Yeah, even something small like specifically geared to his work. The restaurant industry in Greece is very different. Like apparently, from his perspective at least, like things like modifications on meals, or like even just like little things that are common customs in Canada. Like if you ask for an extra piece of bread, we don't typically charge for that sort of thing, or just like little tiny things that very nuanced when it comes to social, settings. He had to learn all of that, right? And it's been a struggle for him in certain ways, but you can see that he's growing, and I think he's happy. Yeah.
Beautiful. And remind me, how long has it been open for?
So we officially opened June 16th of this year, or this past year, I guess, 2023.
And would you guys spend like a year building it? 6 months?
They were there. I think they were working on it for quite a while. Yeah. Close to 6 months, I'd say. And then I was there for the last 2 months or so.
Beautiful. Beautiful. What's one thing that you wish our listeners knew about Explorers Bistro specifically?
Oh, just how intensely dedicated we are to deliver a quality meal, to be honest. Like Chef, he makes everything. He doesn't like salad dressings, chef spices, spice mixes, sauces, everything is made from scratch. He takes these like amazing whole foods, and then he, carefully curates them into these mouthwatering meals. And he specifically, of course, because he's the Greek man, loves to highlight the health and prosperity of the Mediterranean diet. And he's really, really passionate about providing that for the local community here.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So it is a Mediterranean cuisine for the most part?
For the most part, yeah.
Beautiful. So this is this was not in the questionnaire. I leave this as my secret question. So I don't know if you'd have one for Tammy and Chef, but since you know them so well, maybe you will. It's my favorite question for sure. So I look at business as a very important part of life. I think we can develop a lot of character from it and figure out who we are along the way. Maybe not a guarantee, but I think business challenges us to look deep into who we are. But I think at the end of the day, the game we are playing is the game of life. Business is a part of that. Being a son or a daughter is a part of that. So something that I think about a fair bit is my impact. What was I meant to do? What am I doing? Is it good? Is it having a positive ripple effect? So I like to ask people, what do you want your impact to be on this world?
Well, I wouldn't dare to speak on behalf of them in this regard, but as far as myself, for me, it's like a bit corny, I guess, but I like to see people happy. And I think that's part of why I like to live in the restaurant industry, because most people get really happy when they eat good food. And so it is a pleasure to me to be able to provide them with something. And then at the end, if they're like, I really enjoy that, and I'm hoping to come back and I'll see you later, it feels like, okay, I did my job well, because that customer is leaving happy. And obviously I'm just one cog in the machine of the restaurant, but it's to me, that type of experience has turned my day around. When I go out to a restaurant and I have a really nice server and I eat a really nice meal, sometimes I might have been in a really bad mood that morning, but that afternoon I've got to skip in my step and I'm ready to go again, right? So to me, if I have that impact on the people around me, even to a small degree, that is beneficial.
Oh, yeah. And listen, corny is cool these days. It's always been. We're called the Good Neighbor Podcast, so we love corny around here. It's just as simple as if you can just crack a single smile on a single person's face. Again, that is such a corny sentence, but I think it has a massive impact. And I think that ripple effect spreads out way wider than we can actually see. So if your impact is to make people happy, then we are happy that you are on this planet, Felicity. So tell the audience, where can people find out about Explorers Bistro? Where are you guys? What's your phone number? Give us all the details.
So the best way, obviously, would be come down and experience us in the flesh. We do have a trivia night that we host every Sunday. Our phone number is 705-527-9199. We're located at 345 King Street in Midland, Ontario. And of course, you can get all of the latest news at explorersbistro.com or on Facebook or Instagram, we're Explorers Bistro.
Beautiful. Well, Felicity, thank you for that deep dive into Explorers Bistro. I'm certainly going to come by there. Maybe I'll come by for trivia night, say hello, get some good food, as I do love Mediterranean cuisine. And now I need to pick Chef's brain about old school hip hop, because we may have a few things in common. But I really appreciate you sharing all that you did, Felicity. It was a great conversation. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. You have a great day.
You too.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Midhurst. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpmidhurst.com. That's gnpmidhurst.com, or call 705-413-3775.